So today I'm meeting with Cameron, and we're going to be uh, talking about a presentation that he's working on. And so one of the things I'll do is, when somebody's trying to game their messaging or get their messaging more strategic, we will have them do a series of presentations first, and then we'll review those presentations. So that's what's happening today. Cameron's about to join us in just a minute. I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit. And so we walk through a process called Story Teach Resource or Story Lesson Resource. And it's something that I borrowed from Dean Graziosi's presentation style, which is sharing a story and then teaching a lesson and doing a resource. What's up, buddy?
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I was on with somebody earlier, and so I just had the chance to watch your video a few minutes ago. And
no worries.
I just wanted to take my time and be able to, get through it and listen to some notes and stuff. And cool. How you doing today?
I'm good. It's raining out, but it's good.
That's the deal. Is it pretty rainy this time of year up there?
Yeah, it is. It's starting to be our wet season.
I like your shirt. What does that say? Unbeaten?
Correct.
All right.
Motivation.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I like what you sent me. I want to hear from you first, but I saw some progress. Obviously, it gave me some talking points for today, but I like that you got through that, and I like that we're not talking about hair. So it puts you in, I think, probably a different context. Did you feel that way, or?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I think I felt like I was a little lost because I always go back to what I know and how to do it kind of thing. So that's why I sent you, like, do I do it like a Martha Stewart, or do I do it like like a PowerPoint kind of thing? Like I wasn't sure. So yeah, it made me uncomfortable, but it gave me because with Living Proof, I found that we had to build our class a certain way. So we have to do mood boards, and then we have to write out our Excel sheet of, what the class is about, products, whatever, like they have a layout for us. Mm-hmm. So I took that and put it into the practice of this as well. So
Yeah, I loved it. And that's exactly, when you talked about like the mood board from Living Proof, like, when I say like story lesson resource, or, I've heard it story teach tool, like there's all these different ways but the resource is the thing that you're handing them usually, or the activity they're about to go do. The mood board is a resource. It's something for them to look at and reflect on as you're kind of sharing. And a friend of mine once said, people need to see it, hear it, do it, or, some kind of activity, and then talk about it. There's 4 parts to this adult learning thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why you sort of work that in. And I liked it. You opened up with a little story, which was good. Mm-hmm. And then you got into some steps, and inside of the steps, you inserted a little, some kind of like things that have worked for you in the past and things that didn't work for you in the past, which was cool. And then, you kind of wrapped it back around in the end. So take me through it. What, from the whole process so far, what worked for you? What's not, tell me what you thought.
I read it a lot of times, and I had to make some changes to how I was reading it, just because then I tried the prompter thing because I'm not too sure on how to read through the prompter. So then it was better when I did the notes on my iPad. So whenever I needed to pick up where I left off, I sort of looked down to, have that moment of like, okay, this is where we are. Mm-hmm. But I did know that when I do, let's say, forget or something, then I feel like I go blank versus like just go with it. You do know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, that's sort of what I have to practice on. Like, I think maybe in the back of my head somewhere, I feel like I need to be perfect all the way through versus just to be real, right? So I feel I need to let that go and just and maybe joke about that, like, oh, okay, well, here we are, or whatever, to pave that forward versus be stuck and then get frustrated and then forget, right?
Mhm.
Like that's sort of my go-to. It's like if I get stuck, then it's like I sort of freak out internally, mentally, and then I'm like, what am I trying to say? So then I had to start all over in
Mhm.
those videos. So that's sort of where I think maybe I need to learn how to push through and
Mhm.
then maybe edit that out
Mhm.
and then continue. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, these are short 5 minutes. So, like I just didn't want to go and edit it out just because then I just felt that it wouldn't be proper because I really didn't learn how to do the presentation from beginning to the end. That's what
Yeah.
my thinking process.
Yeah. Yeah. 1,000%. Remember, we're only shooting this on video because you and I aren't in the same place.
Yeah.
And, I think your overall goal is to really learn how to be more impactful when you're with an audience.
Yeah.
And so the video part it's your audience. And what's good about what you just said is we don't get a replay when you're standing in front of a person, right? When you lose your train of thought and you're in a room,
Yeah.
you lose your train of thought. So what are some things we can add in to the presentation style that when we do lose our train of thought, which happens,
Yeah.
that we have some like tools and techniques to do that.
Yeah.
So take me through what you liked about your presentation. You obviously watched it back, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
Tell me some things you liked.
Well, I felt a little bit more comfortable in connecting with the camera closer than further away, having an ambiance around me. Like I felt that being a little bit closer to my phone or whatever I was filming on, like that felt good. But then I also think I sort of sat on my dresser and I was like, oh, I like this too. But I do know that I fuck up more when I do sit down. So I'm just sort of trying to find my way in what works for me or not. And I think it's just really doing it. Um, I think I also like the part where, like, again, sharing those stories in the sense of trying to take you back to an experience or a feeling or um, a mishap, let's just say, right? So, and that felt good because it's just really learning to navigate because we all have stories, but in my own head, I felt, I would say, how do I want to say it? I would say like I need to learn to get that out of my head. It doesn't matter, but it does to share those experiences. Like it's just because I'm always like, let's cut to the chase. Like let's like stop yabbling again. But then you don't get that connection. I find if I was just to do 1 through 10 kind of thing, right? Let's start with 1 and 2 and 3. Like it's just that I'm telling you what to do kind of thing. So having that moment to share those stories is good. Like I've noticed that I'm starting to connect those a little bit more. Yeah.
Why is it that stories or experiences or testimonials or real life examples, why do you think that's important for an audience to hear first?
Oh, well, so they can get a sense of feeling or be connected to that story or whatever you're trying to sell them, or, to get them more involved, or I've been there before, or I thought someone had been there before or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that
Well,
connection.
yeah, connection. And what maybe would be another thing important for them to know that you have like personal experience with it?
Oh, it helps. It gives you credibility.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And as a listener, have you ever sat in front of somebody giving a presentation and it took them a long time to earn your trust because like halfway through you go, "Oh, Well, if I would have known that in the beginning, I would have listened more.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. And that's the part they missed in the beginning. So maybe they jumped right into information. Maybe they're absolutely knowledgeable. Maybe they're the perfect person to be teaching it.
Yeah.
But unless I like know that in the beginning, a lot of people are going to be disconnected until it connects exactly with them. So when you come in and you share the story, let's say, I'm going to teach you how to cook the perfect Christmas turkey.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that somebody in the audience is a chef. Another person in the audience is a total beginner.
Yeah.
And another person in the audience has tried and failed a few times. Unless they connect with exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
And understand, like, I know what it's like to be the beginner. So back in the day, I tried to cook these Christmas turkeys. You know, my mom used to do these. They were amazing. The first time I completely flunked.
Yeah.
And then I went online. I learned a bunch of recipes. I mixed them together. I tried through trial and error. Now our house is the house that everybody wants to come to have that turkey.
Right.
Right. So in seeing that journey, the new person goes, oh, if he did it, I can do it.
Yeah.
The medium person goes, oh, well, maybe mine can be a little bit better.
Right.
And the chef says, well, everybody wants to go to his house. Let's see what he's got.
Right.
Right. So that's what that does. And there are times when you don't have the experience, but somebody else did that you're close with. So think about, and maybe put this on the back burner for now, but stories are where we start because they're ours. They're our experience. Nobody else has had them.
Yeah.
But it's okay to use a testimonial as well.
Yeah.
Which would be, let's say in a product scenario where you have had a client, they use this thing, right? So I myself don't have coarse hair.
Yeah.
But I have one client in particular, you know who I'm talking about. She has thin, fine hair. She can never get volume, blah, 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 blah. And she used, dry volume, whatever it is, whatever your product is. And this is what happened. So sharing that testimonial, everybody goes, I have that one client too. Right. Or I have that curly hair. So it's somebody else's testimonial is okay. Somebody else's experience is okay. And then, of course, there's just facts. Sometimes there's just facts. Did you know that bang, bang, bang? And all of those different, changing those up will keep your, like a full presentation fluid.
Yeah.
Where it's not just, because you've also probably heard the person like, let me share a story. And then they say in the next, okay, so I'm going to share a story. And by the end, you're like, look, I'm done with your stories. Just tell me the deal here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where changing those up will be helpful.
Okay.
What else worked for you?
Like working through the steps. Like I think it took me, I knew how I wanted, like I knew the recipes, and then just trying to put all the steps together. That's why I started with the mood board, because it sort of worked. And then, okay, so how do I started out with actually just Pinterest's mood board, but I was like, that's not gonna work, because like it, and I was just gonna talk through it, right, kind of thing. But then I just thought, okay, well, I needed to learn Canva anyway, so I'm sort of signed on to Canva versus I haven't really touched PowerPoint, but then I realized with Canva they have a presentation mode as well, so that's why I might just keep it in there. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Yep. So then, and then writing out the recipes and just sort of figuring it out as I work on this. It sort of came together. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of what I found that worked for me. But then I have to always take the long journey, because it's not always a shortcut. Mm-hmm. It's like, how do I want to do it? And I think I overthink it and instead of just doing it, and I need to feel that it to realizing that I can let go and do it, because I did that video in a couple takes, but then as I try to keep repeating it and make it better, it got worse. Right. So, because then I was just overthinking it. What else do we need to do? It wasn't connecting. It wasn't as authentic, even though in my head, I know the recipe 1 through 10, but because again, with being on video, my mind is here, not there. So it's just learning how to recall that and not look awkward or weird to come up. So I I I'm not sure if the teleprompter works, but that's just a whole other story. But but an overall thing, like just talking it through and keep filming it, like you said the last time, worked really well, because first I recorded it, and then I then listened to it without looking at it, and then I watched it without. This is sort of from Vin, whatever his name was, a motivational speaker or whatever, and then he said to just watch it without the volume, and then watch it all together to see, because when you, like in the beginning, when you listen to it without watching it, you'll hear all the stumbles or whatever, right? And then when you watch it, you without the volume, you see your body language and what you needed to do, kind of thing, right? So I thought, well, I sort of took that, and I'm like, oh, that sort of did work, because it's like, okay, I need to change this part, and that part, right? But I'm also overly critical, so myself. So yeah, that's what
I mean, you're right about that. Like, going through the process is 90% of it. I mean, these meetings that we're going to have, we'll pick things out, we'll share tools and techniques.
Yeah.
And then it's really the process that is going to refine.
Yeah.
Continue to refine your work.
Right.
And I think sometimes, I know I probably did this as an educator. I'm an expert in the salon. So I show up with my expertise. I've got a little bit of practice behind me, but I show up mainly with my expertise. And I think I'm just going to somewhat wing it. I'm going to use my good personality, because we're behind the chair. We have that good personality where we can attract people in that. And it just comes to it that giving a presentation is just a different job than being behind the chair, being a good salon owner. And so there's a system and a process for organizing that information where it's the most digestible.
Right.
And it's like a learned skill. You know what I mean? Elevating hair to 0 degrees and cutting, or hand painting a balayage. It's a learned skill. So you're right about that. And I'm glad you did that. The other thing that you said, which happens all the time, sometimes we overthink it.
Yeah.
And that's where doing that, like if you were working on it for 3 hours, you're done.
Yeah.
3 hours at, rewriting, refilming, you're done.
Right.
Put the pen down. It's over for the day.
Yeah.
And so, that kind of cramming is helpful for the next time that you go back and shoot. But we reach a point where we're just done. And that's okay. And you get better when you reach that point of like, I'm full. Pardon me. Then you come back the next time. You'll pick up where you left off at the end. Like you now have a new set of skills that you're going to get better and better and better at.
Right.
So with that said, what did you not feel like you did well, or what could you improve on?
I would say the parts where when I screw up, and so not to freak out and then sort of pick up from wherever, those are the parts, like I think I said earlier, I just like I screw up, then it's like then my brain freaks out, and then my brain shuts off, right? So then I was like, blah blah blah, I don't know where to go from here. Even that's why that's the part where I don't like, where this is, I think it would be just practice, and I'll get smoother in transitioning back of some sort, or figure out ways to like when we're behind the chair, right, we laugh about it, or we talk it out or walk it through or whatever. But because people realize that's real. Like, instead of me shutting down the camera and starting all over, I think I should just push through and then come back, either edit it or just leave it. And then those are where you need to know where you need to work on or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. For now, we'll just leave it. Like, it's not, we want to see the rawest of the raw. Like,
Okay.
you and I, we don't need edited formats of this, because we need to know, like, what's the real Cameron, like, what's it really look like? And then from there, if you were making a YouTube channel, you're editing your content. That is what it is. But for this, you want to stick in those uncomfortable moments, allow your brain to go through that meltdown process.
Yeah.
And then be able to figure out a way to come back to the content, either through A, finding your thought again, or B, asking a question or diverting the attention.
Right.
So, an example might be when you talked about the good personal tip, and you were talking about the reason why you brine your turkey, which I have no idea what that means, by the way, but the reason why you brine your turkey. And you were like, I've tried it with, and I've tried it without. You could insert a question in there and be like, so have you ever had it happen where you did a turkey without brining it? Or do you know what brining is?
Right.
And then, so you can start to add in questions and activities when you're live with a group, and ask them, who here has ever tried, who here has ever done a turkey and not brined it?
Right.
What happened when that what happened when you did that? Well, in your case, it wasn't cooked all the way through.
Right.
And so you can start to use your experience when you get to a point where you've got a teaching point. Now you can say, now I've done this 2 ways. I've tried it one way without brining.
Yeah.
And just curious, who in the room's done that before? You,
right.
Great. Awesome. Julie, what happened when you did that? Well, when I did it, it happened to not be cooked through. Wow. Me too. And what happened when you did it with the brine? So on camera, you're delivering a presentation.
Yeah.
When you have an audience, you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
So just be thinking about that when you're presenting, and you want to picture having an audience there, that maybe this next time around you can start to even sorry, you can start to even add in questions, add in conversation points, an activity. I don't know what activity we would do right now with with cooking a turkey, but something that you can now start to relate to the fact that you're with an audience. And so think about that. When my brain gets locked, I ask a question.
Okay. What was the other one? You ask a question, or you can, what was the other diverting question that you said?
Well, you can ask a question.
Yeah.
You can do an activity.
Oh, okay.
You can just pause. Like, have you ever seen a presenter who has taken an unordinary long pause? What are you thinking when that happens?
I think maybe to let us get information, like absorb the information. I guess I didn't go to, maybe they forgot something, or if it was a long pause based on a thing that needs to settle with you, then they'll give you that moment kind of thing to let it register.
That's all it looks like.
Right.
That's all it looks like on the other end. Let's say you just made a point, and you know, you shared that story about the brining again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to put myself back in that situation. And, you know, so who's done it without?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
And then the person says, you know, well, it didn't cook all the way through.
Yeah.
And then I just repeat, it didn't cook all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And then because it does take the person time to process on the other end.
Right.
So we don't have to be just vomiting information the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
On social media videos, you got to get it out pretty quick.
Yeah, even when I did this, you said 3 to 5. It took 5 and 30 because I took my time.
Yep.
So again, like, and probably learning how to be within those time frames and learning the speed, right? Like I thought I didn't have enough material, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's 4:30 right now, and I'm on numbers 4, right? So it's like, and try not to rush through kind of thing. So yeah, that was the other part, is learning about timing with all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's great. So think about this. When I plan a new presentation that I haven't done before, it takes about 3 hours on average to plan the first hour, to plan 1 hour. So let's say you had a brand new set of material you were going to go in and teach, and it was a 3-hour presentation, like a PK, probably that type of a thing.
Yeah.
It'd take about 12 hours to plan that 3 hours.
Right.
Because you want to get to the point where you're planning the minutes.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes, I'm in my opening. Then from here. So take the same approach when you're looking at 5 minutes, right?
Okay.
How long is my opening story? So if you think about it, 10% of your presentation is your opening.
Yeah.
And 10% is your closing. So let's just do the math here. 5 times 60. That's 300 minutes, or that's 300, hold on, 60 seconds per minute. That's 300 seconds. So then times 10%. So 30 seconds is your opening.
Okay. Yeah. For a 5-minute video kind of thing.
Yep. That's your high welcome. Hold on. Let me make sure I just said that right. Divided by, I don't know, times. Okay. Yeah. So 30 seconds is your opening, and that's just your hi, welcome, glad you're back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I felt like this time around you could have had a little more energy in there. I'm guessing you maybe saw the same thing, felt the same.
Yeah.
So 30 seconds, then, you know, now your story is a part of you want to be in your story, you know, right after that 30 seconds. So 30 seconds on the front end is your opening. That's your hi, thank you for being here, welcome.
Yeah.
30 seconds on the back end. So that's 1 minute gone. That's 20% of your presentation gone.
Yeah.
And so now you've got 4 minutes to do your steps.
Yeah.
And your story is a part of your content.
The story is part of
your story is part. So the first 30 seconds is, hi, everybody. My name's Cameron.
Yeah.
Happy you're here today. Today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart with the holidays coming up. And it's how to cook the perfect holiday turkey. Right. I'm going to share a story with you. When I first cooked a turkey, it did not go well. You know, I was used to being at my mom's house for Thanksgiving and always having the perfect turkey and just never knowing the work that went into it. Well, I guess I saw her in the kitchen, but I didn't really know all the work she was putting into it.
Right.
Then I move into my house, and the first thing that me and my partner are going to do is throw Thanksgiving dinner at our house. We're going to have Friendsgiving. Yeah. Everybody's coming over, and there I am in the kitchen slaving for 4 hours, only to have an epic fail when it comes to the turkey. It was dry. Nobody liked it. Nobody ate it. I don't really know if any of that's true, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so after that day, I vowed that I was never going to have that happen again. So I got to work on the internet and I found the perfect recipe. And I'm about to share with you the 10 steps to cooking the perfect Thanksgiving turkey. Right. So like the opening is the, hey, welcome, here's what I'm going to do today.
Yeah.
The story is a part of your content. Okay. But the content is 4 minutes. So you might go 1 minute for story, right, 3 minutes for total content, figure that out, then 30 seconds close. And the close would be something like, just so you know, I've got a PDF down below that you can download for that turkey. Or, you know, so now how many of you in the room would want to have my exact recipe? Well, I'm going to you know, just so happens that I printed up one for you today. So that's the resource you're going to give away.
Yeah.
And that's just, again, that could be your handout at Living Proof. That can be, you know, when you start consulting people, that's going to be the worksheet, like my Core 4 worksheet, you know, that I do with people. And so 10% is your opening, 10% is your closing, 80% is the meat. So then you take your meat and you break it down and you do it minute by minute. Minute number 1, this is going to be the story. You know, then it's going to be 3 minutes for the full process. Yeah. And then I know with 30 seconds left, I've got to close this bad boy out.
Right.
And that should be helpful in helping you get that timing down. And then read your script out loud a few times.
Right.
Before you ever turn the camera on. 3 times is usually enough.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say your kind of next evolution is. What I would do, in fact, what I want to have you do is I want you to do that same presentation.
Yeah.
Again, send it to me sooner.
Okay.
So like maybe within the next week or so, could you think you could do a rerun on that, or by next Sunday?
Probably.
Possibly. If you can't, just say no.
Yeah, I should be able to. It's Monday. Yeah. Okay. Let's just commit for that, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Just send it. We don't have to meet next Monday.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to, there's 3 things that were on my mind that I would like to see more of if I was in an audience.
Yeah.
One is a little more conviction.
Yeah.
Or ownership to your story. Like you got to it, but you started out the whole video with soft energy.
Okay.
And I would say, you know, without being fake, just pull your energy level up a little bit more. So whatever you on like a really good cup of coffee looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. Pull that up. The second thing is I want you to find the camera a little bit more often with your eyes. You did it towards the middle and ending of the video, but I have a feeling wherever you had your camera on your phone, like make sure you're looking directly into where the lens is. You might have been looking, like you might have had the phone upside down, and wherever you were looking, I think you thought you were looking directly into the camera, and you weren't. So when you're doing camera work, like exactly what I'm going to do right now, you want to find your lens.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the connection point. Now, this feels really fake because you and I are on a Zoom, and I know you're actually down here.
Okay. Yeah.
But when you're talking to a camera, find the lens, and the person on the other side is going to be more drawn in.
Is that where like on my laptop right now, where the green dot is? Like look at the green dot.
So if you look at the green dot right now.
Yeah.
Now I feel like you and I have eye contact.
Okay.
So watch this. I will do now you're looking at your green dot and I'm looking into my camera. So it looks like we have eye contact and we don't. But
okay, yeah.
Right. But do that when you're filming. Whenever you're filming, you want to find the camera lens. If not, it looks as if like we're looking off to the side.
Okay, yeah.
And then the last thing I want you to do is pack that into where you get the best parts of your story. Leave the rest out. Right? Make your story sound more exciting. Like get like add some drama to it.
Okay.
And that would be what I was just playing with your story. I used to go to my mom's. We had the best turkey. And then it was an epic fail on my first. Now, it doesn't have to be an epic fail, but there was just something missing. I didn't know what it was, but there was something missing. So,
you know what I think it was? Because I was trying to find, and I thought I noticed that too. In the beginning, I was trying to connect, but be soft voice, hey, like, come and hang out with me kind of, deal kind of thing. But then where I got comfortable, like you said, because I knew from that point the material on, and I've just connected, right? Like in the beginning, I was still trying to navigate my way to somehow connect, so that's sort of where I think that disconnect comes from in the beginning. Like I did notice that too, because in the middle, like as soon as we talked about the experience, why I brine, or I've done a butterball turkey and whatnot, because
then
I
it felt more real.
Yeah,
it felt more real. Yeah, and that's the thing. A story does need to be real.
Yeah.
And at the same time, when you're holding an audience, you have to find the drama in it.
Okay.
And so that would be the goal for the next time around.
Okay.
And then with the steps, again, just try to get more clear. So, think of this like, what's that TV show called where everybody does an audition? Whatever, one of the singing shows where people audition.
Okay, the blind, yeah.
Just think of it like that. Like you're gonna now this, this particular presentation is going to be Cameron at the top of his game.
Okay. Including the steps?
And again, you want to try to, shrink it down, make it powerful, make it impactful.
Yeah.
And work the steps through. So still 5 minutes. All you're doing is really raising your energy. You're connecting more with the camera, and you're cleaning up your steps in your story. So, really go through the material, and anything that doesn't need to be said, leave it out. And anything that can add, an excitement point, like I loved your brine story, any place where you can insert another story to keep those little rocks from getting boring.
Yeah.
Then that's what you want to do. So I love that you inserted a couple of stories throughout the process.
Okay. I'll give it a swirl. I'm not sure. I'm still processing that to how to do it kind of thing. Yeah.
Which part?
Well, the story part. Like I'm just, I'll figure it out. If not, I'll reach out.
Yeah. Do you remember the 3 steps we talked about that go inside of a story?
The little rocks? Like,
so what were the 3 parts that make up a story we talked about in our first probably 2 sessions?
I don't know. Is that, or like, are we big or broad topic, subtopics?
No, it's right. Probably before that. It's what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So now inside of your turkey story, tell me what it was like before you ever had any experience cooking a turkey.
Okay.
I mean, for sake of conversation right now.
I had no idea how much time goes into cooking a turkey.
Right. Yeah. I used to just sit down at Thanksgiving table, and there was a delicious turkey there.
Yeah.
And I had no idea the time, the love, the effort, the energy that went into this turkey.
Yeah.
Right. So then what happened is the second phase. And what happened?
I've tried cooking a turkey and it didn't turn out the way my mom's did or whatever.
Yeah. And then so you went on your quest to cook the great turkey. And then what's it like now?
It's the best turkey and everybody wants to come over.
Right. You see my point? So now you use that framework in any single story. Let's say your brine story What was it like before?
Yeah. Oh. Well, okay. What was it like before brining?
Yeah, before you tried
okay. The turkey was not as flavorful.
Okay. And what else?
And dry.
Yep.
Right? Or is
Yeah. And I thought you said it didn't cook as well or something like that. But whatever. Not as
okay, I see.
dry.
Yeah. No, because when I said that, when I did a butterball, because on their website it said to if you wanted to cook frozen to cook, you can do it this way. And I followed their instructions, but it didn't really come out because the inside was still how do you want to say it, was still uncooked or not ready, not done yet, and the outside started to dry out, kind of thing. So it's really like what we're saying is like that's sort of my experience, and then it's like maybe me thinking, how do I turn that into a story? Is that
absolutely? So here's the story. So whenever you're telling a story, it's in 3 parts.
Yeah.
What it was like before. So your brine story, I loved it. So you said, why is brining important? Well, let me tell you, I tried it without. That's the before.
Right.
And here's what happened. It was kind of flavorless. It was really dry. It was undercooked. Okay.
Right.
Or that's what it was like. Then here's what happened.
Yeah.
Then I went onto the Butterball website and they said, if you want to cook it from frozen to blah, 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 here's the steps. So that's what happened. So I tried it.
Yeah.
Now what's it like? Now I do it that way every time because it gives my turkey the most flavor. It's super juicy inside, right? I'm totally making things up right now, right?
Yeah.
And boom. So every story has that framework, and that's what adds that drama, that story arc.
Okay. So let's just pretend, let's do something else. Like I'll say, we'll pivot a little bit. Let's say, let's go back to hair. Like I'm just trying to make that connection. So a client comes in and says, I don't know why my hair is always so dry.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And these are the products that I'm using, Pantene Pro V, let's say.
Okay.
So then would I say the story to them would be, my hair used to be dry, but now I have found the perfect product that helps moisturize my hair.
Okay. So that's a story, but is it a true story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if they came in, let's say somebody came in, like what's a problem you don't have with your hair?
Oil problem. It's not greasy.
So let's use somebody that has oily hair.
Okay.
Okay, so I come into you, I've got oily hair.
Yeah.
And you want to sell me a product.
Okay.
In the end, because it's going to be good for my hair, right?
Right.
I start to tell you these problems. Well, how you're going to sell it, if they have total trust in you, you're just going to tell them, I have something perfect for you. You're going to give it to them. They're going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
But if they need to understand more, then in this particular case, it's a presentation, just like when I'm with a group.
Okay.
And I can share a story that has a story arc to it.
Right. Yeah.
Now, give me an example of somebody that that has oily hair that solved that problem using a product that you would recommend.
A teenager with hormones that are changing, I guess.
Okay. Do you know this person? Like, tell me somebody that that has actually solved this problem using the product that you recommend.
Okay. My client, Claire.
There we go.
So we're trying to be more specific. Is that?
Yeah. So a story has to be true and it has to be specific, or it needs to be somebody else's story. So in this case, somebody sits down, they're talking to you about oily hair. You're going to tell them about Claire.
Okay. Yeah.
Now tell me about Claire's story. What was it like before? What happened? What's it like now?
Okay. So Claire is 16, right? And she's just going through some hormonal changes. So with that, she being I don't want to with hormone changes, in the results of that,
Okay,
it
time out.
was
Just tell the story as it happened. Claire came in, she sat in my chair. She was going through some changes, like 16-year-olds do, and her hair was oily. So I recommended, okay, so that's the whole story. It's real easy, right?
What am I not getting though, Chris? This is sort of where I'm like,
well, that's the whole opening of the story, right? So here's the opening. Okay. Claire came, she sat down, she was in my chair, 16, she was going through some hormones, she was experiencing some oily hair. Now, if I'm with a group, I say, how many of you have that client? They come in, it feels almost like there's a cast on their hair. There's something there.
Right.
Okay. Everybody, 4 people raised their hand. Great. Well, that's the situation Claire was in.
Okay.
Okay. That's the what was it like?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to go to step 2. What happened? So I recommended that Claire use bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. Okay. A, B, C, and D. Yeah.
Yeah. She went home. She used it for 6 weeks. And the next time she sat in my chair.
Yeah.
So that was what happened.
Yeah.
Part 2. What did she do? She went home. She used it for 6 weeks.
Correct.
When I saw her the next time, now finish the story.
Yeah. Oh, when I saw her the next time, her hair was transformed and she's dealing with less oily hair.
Yeah. Her hair felt great.
Hair's not oily anymore.
Yeah. And it's getting better and better. It's getting better and better every time she uses it. Right. So only if it's true, though.
Right. But so am I.
That's what it's like now.
Right. But then I think it's probably me trying to be more descriptive. Is that what's missing? I feel like I'm not sure what I'm.
Okay. Retell me Claire's story and use the 3 steps.
Okay. Okay.
And tell me step 1. This is step 1, and that's what it was like before.
Okay. I had a client named Claire, and she came in with oily hair. All the her being 16 and going through some hormonal changes, her hair was constantly oily.
Okay, great. Now stop for a second. Now I want you to ask a question.
Okay.
To the room. How many of you have a client that has oily hair or have seen a teenager go through this exact same thing?
Right.
Okay. What you're doing now is connecting yourself to the audience.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the audience does what?
Yes, I do. I can relate. Or I have a teenager or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So what you did with your stories, you just made a connection.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the whole first part of the story. That's what it was like. Now, what happened? Part 2.
So I recommended 3 products for her to use every day for 6 weeks.
Great. Okay. That's step 2. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, step 3. What's the grand finale? What's the final result?
In 6 weeks' time, when she came back into my chair, her hair was totally transformed and not oily anymore. Or tell me
the truth about what happened. Like what you brought Claire up as an example.
Okay.
So now tell me the truth about the rest of the story.
She came back 6 weeks, but her oil issues have reduced, but not completely gone.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. And how much would you say it reduced it by?
Probably half, because she would shampoo every 2nd to 3rd day now versus every day.
Great. And how long has this been?
It's been about 16 weeks or so.
Okay. And so do you expect the reduction to be any further, or do you think it's about where it's at?
I would probably think it's about where it's at, but it can, it can probably be reduced as her hormones probably level out.
Sure. Yeah. As she gets older, things are going to change.
Right.
But the idea of the result is now I have to tell them what actually happened, right? So I've got to tell them like this is the result. So, give me an example of what you recommended to her.
Our new scalp care, what was it? Exfoliating scalp care cleanser.
Great. Okay, so now I'm gonna do your part in this thing here, and so you just think step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, so in just a minute, I'm going to be introducing to you one of my favorite new products that we don't use on every single person. So let me give you an example of this. How many of you have a client that maybe has had oily hair or oily hair issues? Okay.
Yeah.
Me? Okay, great. Yeah. We don't see it all that often, but when we do, it's really frustrating for the client. So I have a client, her name is Claire. She's 16 years old and she's going through some hormone stuff as we do when we're teenagers. And her hair is just more oily than it used to be. You could probably imagine this is pretty frustrating for a 16-year-old girl who has to go to high school every day, right?
Yeah.
Not the most fun thing. So after we chatted a little bit, I recommended to her, I forget the name of the product, but right. Yeah. I recommended to her this regime and she took it home. And, to be honest, I was curious as well, what was going to happen. Yeah. So I saw her 6 weeks later, and I can honestly say this heavy oiliness that was in her hair, I mean, you could almost see it from across the room, was reduced by about 50%. Now, this is a really extreme case. In most cases where, your client might have just a little bit of oiliness going on in their hair, maybe feel like they have, something weighing it down. This could eliminate 75 up to 100% of that oiliness. So she's been on the regimen now for about 16 weeks and it's cut it down completely in half. She's really happy with the way it's making her hair. And I imagine down the road, it's going to just diminish the problem entirely. So this is one of my favorite new products. Let me introduce it to you. And now I go to the resource and I pass it around. We do the smell test. We do whatever it is we do.
Yeah.
So did you see the story arc in there?
Yes.
Okay. How did I add drama to it?
By telling people, I don't know.
First thing I did was I hinted that I'm going to introduce a product to them. It's one of my new favorite products.
Okay.
That was just a teaser.
Right.
Then I told them a real life story and I made it, as interesting as possible. I mean, she's 16, she's having hormones, she has to go to high school. Other people are looking at her hair, right? So I'm adding a little drama to it.
Okay. So basically, I think I needed to be a little bit more descriptive and add, I feel like they're I'm not connecting with that, per se. Okay.
Yeah. Are you connecting now though?
I get it, but I don't know how to do it as me.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out what Cameron would say, you know, I'm not sure. I just probably have to play around with, and maybe I probably should just do it with all my clients in everyday practice kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't, because I think, like I said, I always cut to the chase and so I haven't learned how to add and extend and describe things or whatever. And I think that's always been me. So it's just learning to add all of that and not feel whatever it is
authentic. Like it's you.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be you being somebody else. This is just about painting the full picture and connecting A to Z.
Yes.
So, there are people out there that sit in your class. They're like, look, just give me the bullet notes. But that's only about 2%.
Right.
Somewhere around 70% of people need to see it, hear it, touch it, feel it, visualize whatever it is there, and then they need to talk about it or review it. So sometimes I say see it, hear it, do it, review it. And that's what is increasing their knowledge. So you're taking them on the journey so the person gets full comprehension and full connection. You're going to have those clients, they're just going to say, tell me what to buy. And they're already at the shelf before you did suggestive selling, right? So it's the same thing with your audiences. Some of your audience are like, look, just give me the facts.
Right.
But even with the facts, it's really helpful to have an example of what this will do. Like, oh, this will remove oil from your hair. Oh, great. But let me tell you about a client that I used it on.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've seen this work in real life.
But I also think, because I probably just do it because when I teach the Living Proof product knowledge class, I think I just do it and it's at the time being, but never really looked back on how I did it. Like, and again, like I know, because when I do these classes, they always upgrade to the next package. So I'm doing something correct.
1,000%.
But I just don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't observe myself.
Exactly. And that's a part of, I think, probably why we're doing this right now. Because, you were having questions in the beginning about like, okay, how do I get to the next level?
Right.
And a part of getting to the next level is just knowing that you've got these tools and techniques in your back pocket that you can pull towards, in certain situations. If somebody's not getting it in the audience, I can ask them a question.
Okay.
Rather than just telling them more,
I
can ask them a question. If I feel like somebody's not, let's say, for instance, we're talking about a balayage class here, right? Completely different topic.
Yeah.
And I say to somebody, I'm going to make something up now that has to have a physical thing. Yeah. So when when you're applying your color to the foil, you want to just back brush a little bit at the scalp to soften it towards the scalp, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got a new person there who doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And I say, back brush it. And they say, I don't know what that means. So what are you going to do next?
Visually show it.
You're going to show it, right? Yeah. Then if they're still not getting it, then maybe you're going to let them try it.
Right.
Okay. So all those things are our tools.
Okay. Yeah.
And techniques. Some people they're going to hear you say it. They're going to go, oh, cool. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
And so a story is an overarching tool that enrolls the whole group and gives them enough information to know what it is you're about to talk about. And it brings everybody at all levels as close to where your starting point is as possible.
Right.
Yeah. Then when you teach the lesson has those big rocks, those big points, and the little points.
Yeah.
And that also does the same thing. It ensures, okay, so here today we're talking about, removing oil from oily hair.
Yeah.
And here are 3 different ways or 3 different products that I would use and recommend in order to do that. And let me give you an example of seeing this work with my own 2 eyes in the salon.
Right.
Okay.
Would you though, like say if I get, I don't know, like a class like that comes up, should I do my homework and write that out first just so that I know it versus winging it kind of thing and getting lost or having an idea, right?
Yeah. Would it be helpful for you next time if I'd like walk you through a planning process of how to plan a class or a presentation?
Probably. Like, because at Living Proof, we sort of do that now, and I can always just send it to you. It's just our,
it's your agenda.
Yeah, that's their agenda, whatever. So it takes you through that.
Yeah.
Do you find that have to still plan? Yeah. I guess
do you find that helpful? Or do you use it outside of Living Proof at all, like to plan other things that you teach?
Well, Not with product knowledge, because I've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I
Product
just
knowledge
do
aside
it.
for now. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't done a big like a haircutting class or anything yet, because this is made for each educator and their own platform.
Yeah.
So I haven't done that. Like I understand how to do it, but then I probably should just write out the story. Let's just say the turkey. Let's write out the story.
Yes.
Have that in my back pocket.
Yes.
If you're lost, kind of thing, is that, or just having it, meander around in your brain somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I just learned early on as an educator. I had a coach who really scrutinized this team that I was on when I was a newer educator. I wasn't really young, and though I wanted to murder him for the way he coached me, I have adopted that planning process of, if it's something important, I write and create like the whole thing. An example is Core 4, because that's the newest thing that I'm writing.
Yeah.
I'm constantly rewriting Core 4.
Okay.
And with having that written out is enormously helpful. So yeah, no, I mean, I think if we have it in our heads like that, the Michael Sean Corbys of the world are just shooting from the hip, they're not. They're not. They spend a great deal of time planning, and it's really the next level. Hi there.
That's Bo.
It really is the next level in taking you outside, because the reason why I'm shifting back and forth so comfortable between hair and turkey and changing a tire or vacuuming your living room is because I understand that I'm only going to use story lesson resource or story teach tool.
Yeah.
I'm always going to have a story that has a story arc of what it was like, what happened, what it's like now.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to get into my lesson. If my lesson is too big, I'm going to break it up using multiple stories or testimonials.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm going to repeat that process over and over again. And so even if right now I had to teach you something that I really didn't know much about, I can fluff my way through it, because I'm going to share a story. Who here has ever been broken down on the side of the road?
Right.
I have. Who here has ever blown a tire? I have. Who here didn't know how to change a tire yet when they blew a tire? That's me. And so I learned quickly in that situation where my, jack was, which I never knew, where my blah, blah, blah,
so those would be your big rocks, right? And then
that's just my story.
Okay.
Now the big rock is how to change a tire.
Okay.
The little rocks are, well, what did I need? I needed to know where my jack was.
Yeah.
I needed to know where the spare was. I needed to be able to unscrew the jack to get it out of my trunk to begin with, which I had no idea how to do. Right. Like all of these are your kind of little rocks along the way.
Yeah.
And again, depending on how much time, is how deep and intricate you get.
Yeah.
In this case, 5 minutes, we're not going to learn the gourmet, all of the little secrets of cooking that turkey, but we're going to get the steps.
Okay.
And so,
even though in that 5 minutes, because the body part or the middle part, that 4 minutes, can I, instead of the 10 steps, so instead of saying I have an easy 10 step, I would say I have, like, instead of
squish it down. Can you do it in 5 steps? Can you do it in 6 steps?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of saying in 10 or 5 or whatever, instead of saying a number, just say, I can teach you how to make a delicious, juicy turkey.
Sure.
Or generalize it a little bit more.
Yeah. But if you're going to do 3 steps, tell them it's 3 steps. If it's going to be 6, tell them it's 6. Okay. If we had a 2-day program, right, then it could be 25 steps. In a 30-minute program, it's 6.
Okay. Yeah. Know your time limits, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So redo your turkey, make it exciting this time. Maybe add a little visual, right? Okay. You don't have to be in the kitchen, but anything like that. But make that story better than it was last time around.
Okay.
Add a little energy.
Yeah.
Nail your steps, really, really get those down pat.
Yeah.
And then close it up tight. When I say that, what I mean is, make sure that closing story is a good finisher, that here's what happened. So, this is exactly how I do my turkeys every year.
Yeah.
And the standing ovations I get have been well worth the extra work, right? Like, I'm making jokes up right now, but
yeah,
you get the idea.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Then when you send that video, I'll send you another one to make for the next thing. So, and what we'll do is we'll plan to focus on the planning process.
Okay.
Next time around. And I think that's going to be really helpful for you.
Yeah. I feel like I do it, but I don't understand why I do and how I do it. I feel if I maybe get that, so then it'll be my plug and play,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
No, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
So I'm sorry my camera's locked up.
That's okay.
But you want to do 2 weeks on Monday again?
Sure. What's that? Okay, so resend. For this week. Okay. So
I'm going to send you an invite right now. The 25th?
Yeah. God, the weeks go by very quickly.
Oh, do they ever? Okay. And then 25th.
Yeah, I didn't get a link when you sent me that.
I'll just forward you the link a few minutes before. So, but I'll send you the.
Okay, perfect.
Just the hold. 25. Yeah. Does not repeat. Not all day. 1. What did we do? 12 today?
11?
Yeah, I mean we did 12 p.m. right? Yeah, that's the 25th.
Oh, 9 for me, 12 for you. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 boom. 25th time zone. Cam presentation. Okay, I'm gonna hit add guest. Here we go. There's one. Save. Okay.
Amazing. Great.
Okay, so that doesn't have any, just has Cam presentation.
Okay.
On the 25th. I'll send you a link a little bit before, and we will chat. Send me something on the 17th or 18th in the morning.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Amazing. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing it next time. Great. It's great that you're doing this work.
Oh, thank you. Trying to. Well, I think it's just really like me figuring out things. That's all. Yeah. I'll get there. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. All right.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you.
You're doing great.
Have a great day.
See you, buddy.
Bye.